We got a showdown in D.C. over funding for the Homeland Security Department. Republicans say they won't pass a bill to fund the department if it includes a provision to fund President Obama's executive order for amnesty for illegal immigrants. So let's bring in Congresswoman Diane Black, Republican from Tennessee. Congresswoman, Friday's the deadline. Will we have a deal to keep Homeland Security open?
Charles, it's good to be with you today. And listen, we hope that the Senate, I know that they're in today, will take our bill up and do what they need to do, and that is work on their will of what they would like to have come back to the House. That's the reason why we started on this bill in February, passed it, sent it over to the House, or sent it over to the Senate. And we expect that the Senate would do their job and send it back to us. None of us want to close down the government over this. And so we are looking forward to getting something back from our senators.
But Congresswoman, it's Cheryl Castoni here in New York. The real fight here is over immigration and the funding for the president's immigration executive order. Are you and your fellow GOP members willing to take that off the table to avoid a shutdown by Friday?
Listen, we had the president say on 22 different occasions that that he cannot by executive order change immigration policy, and yet he did it. We have Democrats even in the House who agree it was not the way to go. We know that the majority number of the Senate, although they can't get to 20, they can't get to 60, they also agree the same way. And we expect that we're going to get something back from them that will allow us to be able to work the will of both of the bodies and not close down this government. We do not want to close down the government. Obviously, we need the Department of Homeland Security working, considering all of the terrible things that are going around in this world.
Congresswoman, I did read somewhere this morning, though, that the personnel would still work even if it wasn't funded. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but if it was, wouldn't that just allow the political gamesmanship to go intensify a little bit?
Well, you are right, because the last time the government was shut down, we did see that the Homeland Security still continued to operate, that there were workers who were working in that department. And so we think that probably. But that's really not what the House wants to do. I want to go back to say that we did our job back in the beginning of February, and we sent them a bill very early on so that they'd have an opportunity to be able to debate and send us back something from the Senate.
Okay, I want to shift gears a little bit. More problems with Obamacare. 800,000 enrollees. They were sent the wrong tax information. So what exactly happened there?
Well, Charles, this is continuing to happen with Obamacare. It has since the beginning. This is a program that is so complex, so confusing, and so costly that even the administration cannot figure out how to implement it. And so now we see, once again, healthcare.gov, when it was initiated, did not work well. We see that there's still security issues with it. And now one more time, we're seeing a glitch where the American people are really the ones that are getting hurt because they got tax information if they were getting subsidies or tax credits. Right. They got tax information that's not correct. We're now up to almost 1 million people considering not only the federal government, but also the California exchange. And here are people now that are going to have to wait for their tax returns, wait for the government to figure out how to do it the right way and get the information back to them. This is the reason why we continue to say that this needs to be repealed. And by the way, the information on this came out on a Friday afternoon on a blog post. This is very typical of this administration, not standing up and saying, look, we take responsibility. Mr. Ernst would not acknowledge that this was a problem from the administration, would not apologize, and it's very disturbing.
And to your point, it's typical that it comes out on a Friday, and I, for one, can't wait for them to take over the Internet. Congresswoman Black, thank you very much. We really appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you, Charles. It was great being with you.
All righty. And now